Welcome back everyone to the flipped classroom. Today's lesson is going to be over the coordinate plane. Now, a lot of you are already familiar with part of the coordinate plane, but this year we're going to add the other three parts that some of us may or may not actually be aware of at this point. The coordinate plane is actually a plane or space formed by the intersection of a horizontal number line with a vertical number line. The horizontal number line is called the x-axis, and the vertical number line is called the y-axis. Now, one of the awesome things about this is that usually, not always, but usually, your axes will be labeled. Okay, so we've got our x and our y-axis. But just in case they choose not to label the number line, or the axis, we need to make sure that we know x is that horizontal number line and that y is that vertical number line. Okay, now I'm going to give you a moment to look at your fill-in-the-blank notes there. Make sure you get everything. Pause the video if you need to, but if not, we're going to go ahead and move on. Now, the x and the y-axis actually divide the coordinate plane into four regions. These regions are actually called quadrants. And quadrants is the big word there. Now, you guys are already familiar with quadrant 1 right here. Okay? But we've got to get familiar with quadrant 2, 3, and 4. Now, your quadrants will almost never be labeled on your coordinate plane, so let's quickly look at how the quadrants are labeled and what order they're labeled in. Okay? So again, we start here in quadrant 1 where my x is, okay? And the quadrants are actually numbered in a counterclockwise direction. So again, we start off with 1, then we jump to 2, then we go down here to 3, and we end right here at 4. Okay? Now your quadrants will always be numbered in Roman numerals. Okay? So if you're not comfortable with Roman numerals, just take an extra moment, pause the video, and make sure you're clear that we have quadrant 1 right here, because there's one I. Then we've got quadrant 2 right here. Then quadrant 3. And we finish up with the only one that looks kind of weird, quadrant 4. Okay, again, take a moment, make sure that you have got all the blanks filled in your fill-in-the-blank notes. Pause the video if you need to. Now, the x and the y-axis intersect at a point called the origin. Okay? The coordinates for the origin are 0, 0. Now, you're probably wondering what coordinates are. Okay, you've dealt with them before, but just to review, a coordinate is a set of two numbers that lead us to a certain location on the coordinate plane. Okay? Now, coordinates are written as ordered pairs. Okay? The first number of the ordered pair tells you where to move on the x-axis, and the second number tells you where to move on the y-axis. Okay, so we've got the x-axis and the y-axis. Now, let's actually take a look at our example right here. Okay? We've got the example for -2. Now, again, it tells me the first number tells me where to move on the x-axis. Okay? Now, hopefully we remember from earlier that the x-axis right here is our horizontal axis, and the y-axis is our vertical axis. Okay, now I'm actually really glad that we're looking at this coordinate plane, because if we look at it, we can see that neither one of our axes are labeled. There's no scale. Okay? But we can actually create the scale right now by looking at our coordinate right here, our ordered pair. Okay? So the first number of our ordered pair is 4, and that tells me that I need to move 4 to the right, or positive direction on my number line, because 4 is a positive number. Okay? So we're actually going to start right there in the center at the origin, okay, where the x and the y-axis cross or intersect, and I'm going to go 4 to the right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Then the second number tells me where to move on the y-axis. Okay. So I need to look over here at my y-axis. We've got a -2, so that is 2 in the negative direction, which would be down. So I'm going to go 1, 2. Okay, and we've got our point right there. And again, just keep in mind, okay, we are starting here at our point of origin. We moved 4 in the positive direction, and then from our point right there, we moved down 2 in the negative direction. Now, you're probably wondering where you're going to see the coordinate plane most often in real life. And for us, we're going to look at it more in the context of maps. So one of the most common real-life examples of a coordinate plane is a map. Okay. Now, and just to give you an example of this, let's say I'm going to put an X right where the treasure is. Okay. So the treasure here, okay, again, I've got to look at the X and the y-axis. Okay. Let's see. So I'm going to start right here at the point of origin again. Sorry guys, weird moment. Okay, I'm going to start right here at the point of origin. Okay, and it looks like it's told me to go 2 on that x-axis. So our first thing is -2, because remember we moved 2 squares in the negative direction, which would be the left on a number line, and then we went up 2. Up is the positive direction on a vertical number line, so our treasure is located at -2, 2. Okay, now if you look at your fill-in-the-blank notes, you have a nice coordinate plane with everything labeled. I do want us to take a moment and look at the coordinates that are in each quadrant and what type of qualities they have. Okay? We're not going to spend a lot of time on this, but it's something that we need to be aware of. Okay? So we've got point A right here in quadrant 1. Okay? Now if we look at the ordered pair for something located in quadrant 1, if you notice we have a positive number and a positive number. Okay? So 2 positive numbers in an ordered pair means it will be in quadrant 1. Now if we go over here and look at quadrant 2, we've got a negative number, and then our y-axis number is a positive number. So if we have a negative and then a positive for an ordered pair, we have something that will be located in quadrant 2. Now if we look at quadrant 3, let's make the same observations. We've got a negative number and a negative number. So 2 negative numbers in an ordered pair means we'll be located in quadrant 3. And then let's finish up here with quadrant 4. Okay. Now here we've got a positive x value and a negative y. So if we have a positive followed by a negative, we'll be in quadrant 4. Now there isn't exactly a spot for you to fill that information in on your fill-in-the-blank notes, but if I was you, I would take a moment and make sure that I noted what values would be in each quadrant. Okay, now we are quickly winding down our lesson, so let's do some quick practice together, and then you guys can do the Now You Try section on your own. Remember, for our Let's Practice Together section, if you want that challenge, you can go ahead and pause the video and try them yourself. But if you need a little extra help, just follow along with me and you'll be fine. So our first set of instructions say to use the coordinate plane to locate each of the following points. Okay. Now our first point, point A, is located at 2, 4. So I'm only going to draw the arrows for the first example just so that our coordinate plane doesn't get too messy. But it says point A, 2, 4. So I know that I find the 2 on the x-axis. Okay, we're going to start at the origin, so 2. And then it looks like I'm going to go 4 on that y-axis. 4 would be up for the positive direction there. And it looks like point A is going to be located right there. Okay. Now point B. Let me go ahead and get rid of these arrows here. Point B, let's do one more arrow. We've got -3, -6. So I'm going to start here at that point of origin and go 3 in the negative direction. And then I'm going to go 6 in the negative direction on a vertical number line. So that's down. And it looks like we've got point B located right there. Sorry guys, technical difficulty here. Oh. Sorry guys. Ooh. Okay, so we got point B right there. Now make sure you're careful, and just like when we did points on our number lines, we have to label our points. Okay. Now let's see here. Okay, now we're going to stop doing arrows now and just find these points. Point C is located at 1, -1. So we got point of origin, 1 in the positive direction, then 1 in the negative direction. And we got point C right there. Let's keep going here. Point D is -5, 1. So we'll start here at the point of origin. 5 to the left, and then 1 up in that positive direction. And we've got point D right there. Okay. Now let's see here. Point E is going to be at 0, 3. Now, coordinates with zeros are some of the places where people have the most trouble. So let's look at it real quick. Our first number is a 0. So 0 on the x-axis means no movement on the x-axis. So we stay at that point of origin. And then it says we're going to move 3 in the positive direction, okay, on the y-axis. So we're going to go up 3. Okay, and there we are. Right there. So we've got point E actually on the y-axis. Now if we look at point F, we've got 4, 0. So my x number tells me to move 4 on the x-axis in a positive direction, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 0 for my y-axis, so that means that there is no movement on the y-axis. So point F is actually right there on the x-axis. Okay. Now our next question, set of questions, tells me to determine which quadrant each of the following points is located in. So I don't actually have to find these points. I just need to know which quadrant they're in. So I could look back at my notes and see which qualities the ordered pairs from each quadrant had, or I could actually find these points and then just say the quadrant that I found them in. So the first one here, number 7, says -3, 5. So if I go, starting at the point of origin, and I go -3, and then I go up 5, I can see that this point would be located in quadrant 2. Now, at this point, if you would like to, I would actually go ahead and label my quadrants on my coordinate plane. So I know I've got 1 right here. Then moving in that counterclockwise direction, we got number 2 there. Okay, then we got number 3 over here. And we finish off with number 4. 4, sorry about that, guys. Okay. So let's keep looking at our other coordinates here and see if we can find their quadrant. So now we've got 2, -2. Okay, so start here at the point of origin. We're going to go over 2, and then we've got down 2. So we are located in quadrant 4. Now, number 9, we've got -1, -4. So let's look at that one. Okay, we're starting here at our point of origin. Okay, we're going to move -1 to the left there, and then we're going to go down 4. So it looks like now we're in quadrant 3. And our last one that we're going to practice together, we've got -5, -2. So if we start at our point of origin and we move to the left, -5, and then we move down, -2, we are back right there in the third quadrant. This does conclude our lesson for the day. Make sure you complete the Now You Try section and bring those into class with you tomorrow. Good luck, and we'll see you soon in the flipped classroom.